Hi bowl bakers! Holiday baking is not over because I've got a bonus video for you thanks to LG. We are going to make easy homemade chocolate croissants baked in my new LG Pro Bake Convection oven. So let's get baking. So I'm not going to lie to you, homemade croissants do take time to make. However, the method is actually really easy. I have found the simplest recipe to give you beautiful homemade croissants. In a large bowl, add in your flour. Then on one side of the bowl, add in your salt and your sugar. On the other side, we're going to add in our dried yeast. We keep them separate because if the salt lays on the yeast, it will deactivate it. Then with a wooden spoon, just mix all your ingredients together. So our next step is to add in the butter. Now normally you would get a big slab of butter and continuously fold it into your pastry. I am going to eliminate all of those steps by using frozen butter and a box grater. This will give you the exact same result but save you so much time. Directly grate your frozen butter into your flour mix. Grating it is such a fantastic idea because you get really small pea-sized pieces of butter, which is exactly what you want. Also, you don't have to touch it, you can do it really fast. Try to do this step fast so your butter stays nice and cold. And there you have it, look at all those beautiful butter curls. Now all you want to do is take a wooden spoon and then just mix them throughout the flour. If you see any big lumps of butter, just break them down with your fingers. This is exactly what you want, little pieces of butter distributed all the way throughout your flour. To this, we're going to add in our warmed milk. Pour in your milk all over the flour, and then with a wooden spoon, bring it together until it forms a soft dough. Now I know this dough looks like it might be dry, but it's actually the perfect texture. You don't want to add more liquid, and you don't want to continue mixing it. Just push it together with your hands, and you'll feel it start to come together really fast. A few seconds ago, this looked like it was too dry, but now we have our dough and we have a clean bowl, and you know what that means. It's perfect. So now we're going to take this guy and we're going to wrap him in cling wrap. Now we're going to pop this guy in the fridge for a minimum an hour and a half. We want it to get nice and cold, the butter to chill, so it'll be so much easier to roll out. Our dough is nice and chilled, so now it's ready to roll it out. Now this is where the technique comes in. However, the good thing is it is the same step over and over and over again. So it starts to kind of click with you what exactly you have to do. I'm going to put the steps broken down on my website, biggerbolderbaking.com, along with the recipe. Lightly dust your surface with flour. And then also you might want to put some on top of the pastry so your rolling pin doesn't stick. And now we're going to roll it out. And I'm going to put these measurements on the website. Roll it out nice and long and thick. When it comes to rolling your croissants, you want to do it smoothly one way and then the other way. You don't want to roll it out all different angles, and I'll tell you why. Because in a croissant, there's the structure like this and this. I think of them as threads. If you start rolling it like this and all over the place, all the structure will get thrown off, and we want it to be like this and like this to get a perfect croissant. Now that it's rolled, we're going to do a book fold. So we're going to take half of the pastry and bring it into the middle, just like a book. Now you see this flour here? Brush that off with your hands. We do not want extra flour on our dough. Now go with the other side and do the same thing. Bring it into the middle. Now I know that these aren't perfectly aligned, but we're going to bring them in and try and get them as straight as possible. Now what we're going to do is turn our dough this way, and then we're going to do the same again. We're going to bring in the edges. Dust off the flour, bring in this guy. Now you see those jaggedy edges? We actually are starting to line everything up. That's great. Now we're going to take this guy and we're going to flip it over with all your seams facing down. Now we're just going to go and repeat that process all over again. At any stage, if you feel like your dough is getting too soft, pop it back in the fridge for 20 minutes and let it cool down. Roll it out again. And we're rolling it out to the same measurements as we did before. Just with one turn already, you can see how smooth our dough is getting. Okay, so we've rolled it out to the same size and thickness. And then we're going to do our book fold again. Line up the pastry as best you can. I like to push them in together. And then we're going to turn it. And then we're going to do our fold just like we did before. There we go. You can just, give it a helping hand with your fingers. You see already how well this is starting to take shape and it's starting to look a lot cleaner. Perfect. We're going to flip it over again with the seams down, and then one last time we're going to roll it out. Roll lengthways, roll it out wide. At any stage, if you're getting too much resistance from your pastry, just let it relax in the fridge. And then for the last time, we're going to do our book fold. I love how already you can see how smooth your pastry is starting to get, and you see all the lines just being much smoother and naturally joining up together. Okie dokie. Then our fold over here one more time. Line everything up together. And then flip it over. I know it seemed like it took a little bit of time, but this technique is much faster than doing a traditional recipe. And at the end of it, we have a lovely finished homemade croissant. So at this stage, we're going to wrap it in cling film and put it in the fridge, let it chill for another few hours, or you can even leave it overnight and then finish preparing them tomorrow. Our dough is nice and chilled, so our next step is to roll it out and to shape it into croissants. We are going to roll it out until it is around 1/4 millimeter thick. Trim off the uneven edges of your pastry so you get a nice straight line. The bits that you trim off, don't waste them, you can still bake them off, they're just not going to make croissants. Now that we have our angles nice and straight, we're going to measure our croissants to cut them. I'm going to measure a width of 3 inches. The length of our croissant, remember this is making 2, is going to be 12 inches. And then we're going to join the 2 lines together to meet in the middle. Now that we have one rectangle, we're going to cut this in half diagonally, and this will give us 2 croissants. Now you have one lovely triangle. Cut a little slit in the base of the triangle around 1 inch. Now because we're doing chocolate croissants, I'm going to lay some little chocolate discs in the middle. If you don't like chocolate, you can absolutely leave it out, no problem. And then simply take these 2 ends, kind of turn them outwards, and we're gently going to roll up our croissant. Look at that. Once you roll it up with a little point, we're going to put it underneath so he doesn't unravel while baking. And there you have it, a gorgeous homemade chocolate croissant. Look at that. Now just keep on cutting out your dough and rolling up your croissants. Homemade croissants are definitely a labor of love, but when they come out of the oven and they're all beautiful, it's well worth it. Our homemade chocolate croissants look beautiful. I'm very proud of these little guys. So at this stage, it's an important tip. You can actually freeze these right now. Then whenever you want to bake off freshly baked croissants, take them out of the freezer, proof them, and then pop them into the oven. It works really, really well. My LG Pro Bake convection oven actually has a proof setting for yeasted dough, so I'm going to put my croissants in there. It also has double capacity, so you can proof in one oven and bake in the other at the same time. Croissant dough does take a while to proof. You'll know when it's ready when the edges have smoothed and they've grown in size. Before we bake them off, I like to brush them with some egg wash because it gives them a lovely golden brown colour. This makes the top really nice and shiny. Now these guys are ready for the oven. Bake your croissants at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. Then reduce the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit for another 5 to 10 minutes. Our timer's gone off, so let's take out our croissants. These croissants look fantastic, and as you can see, they've got a lovely golden brown colour all over, which is what the convection oven does. Now I'm going to pull one of these open and let you see the inside and all the melted chocolate. You can see all of the beautiful layers that we created by folding and rolling and folding and rolling. All our hard work is right here. It looks gorgeous. Heaven. Absolute heaven. I know they're a lot of work, but it's well worth it. I really hope you enjoyed my holiday recipes, and if you missed any, make sure you check them out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here this Thursday for more bigger, bolder baking.